Okay, guys, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're coming to us from. This is Dominic Militello, your career advancement coach. Thanks for joining me on this Athlete Network video vignette. Have some great information for you today. And I know we only have a short amount of time, so I'm going to dive right into it. I want to start out the presentation like this, and I want you to write this down. What you believe to be true, you will do. It's a simple fact. Think about it for a minute. Dive deeper away from the video because we have a lot of information to cover. But what you believe to be true, you will do. Now, today I'm going to make the case as to why I believe you should keep what I call success journal. Okay? Now, if you're just getting started with a job search, if you're seeking career advancement, or even if you're happily employed right now, tracking your activity is vitally important. Okay? Now, the term journal, as you define it at this moment, may not really excite you all that much. I know when I first came across this concept, I thought journaling, man, it was like, oh, they want me to get deep into my emotions and, let the world know about how I'm feeling. That really didn't excite me that much, right? So what I did is I created a new definition for me for journaling. And I want to share that with you. Maybe you can incorporate this into your belief system. So the way I define journaling now, when I think of journaling, I think of this. I think of it as striking gold, like those 49ers in the old days, right? Out looking for gold, right? Striking a vein of gold, and man, just the riches that came from that. To me, that's what journaling is. Now, I know that may be a far-fetched, thought from where you're at, but just go along with me for a minute here on this, okay? So journaling to me is equivalent to striking gold. Now, it is basically and simply tracking your job and job search activities, your successes and challenges in order to generate interviews, offers, and promotions. Let me say that again. Journaling is simply tracking your job activities, your job search activities, your successes and challenges in order to generate interviews, offers, and promotions. It's just like striking gold, okay? Now, here are 3 things to remember when journaling. Here's the first one. Write this down. I want you to, 1, start/be consistent. You got to just get started, like with anything, okay? Pick a day and a time that works for you and just start writing. It doesn't have to be long and drawn out. It doesn't have to be your deep emotions and feelings like we talked about. Just do what works for you, but be consistent, okay? Just get started, okay? When you were as an athlete, nobody had to tell you to go out there and start banging the ball against the wall, start, kicking it, throwing it, whatever your sport was. You just got out there and started doing it. And you were consistent with your training. You knew there was probably somebody on the other side of the country that was training just as hard, if not harder than you. And if you weren't out there every day banging the ball against the wall, working on your craft, that person was going to get the scholarship. That person was going to get the professional contract. You were consistent and you did it with passion and joy. Get into the same mindset, okay? Journaling can just be just like that. Trust me. Now, the second thing we want you to do is keep it simple. Pen to paper first, then transfer it to a CRM or an Excel spreadsheet. Now, here's my big journal. This is the one that has all my gold in it. All my ideas, stuff, even like this presentation I first had in this journal, right? Look how thick that is. It's leather, it smells good, it looks good. I love carrying it with me. But I also have another journal here that's a little smaller that I carry with me in the car, right? It's not as big, it's not as thick, but it does the job, okay? So I always have all my stuff in my journals, in my handwritten, pen to paper first, then I transfer it so I can organize it easily. Get started, be consistent, keep it simple. Now, I often get people asking me, well, Dominic, what do I write in my journal, right? I don't want it, it's not just about feelings and emotions. What should I write? There's 3 areas I want you to track. Write these down. The first one is meetings. If you're in the job search process right now, you're probably meeting a lot of people. You're probably interacting with a lot of recruiters, referrals, former colleagues, friends, whatever. Track those very specifically. Where you met them, the date you met them, what you talked about, and if they referred you to somebody else. Vitally important. Now, those people that you meet in the job search process become and should become part of your professional network. Keep active with your network, not just when you need something and when times are tough, but offer something when things are good. So not only do you want to track your meetings and those that you meet with, but you want to stay engaged with them when things are going well for you. Offer something free. Offer to maybe check your network and see if they're looking for somebody for their business or whatever. If they're in a job search themselves, maybe you can introduce them to some of the people that you've met. Don't just engage with your network when times are tough. That way you become known as, oh, he just wants something. Offer something when things are good. And track and maintain your network throughout your entire career. Okay, the second one are your ideas. Okay, now listen, we are spiritual beings encased in a physical body, and we've been gifted an intellect. Bob Proctor said that one time, and it stuck with me for it to this day. We're spiritual in a physical body, and we've been gifted an intellect. You are often inspired with new and creative ideas. I know you are. You have to be. You're a spiritual being. With your success journal, you now have a place to capture your ideas. Again, pen to paper first, then transfer those ideas and hits of inspiration to an Excel spreadsheet where you can easily organize them. Now, guys, we all know people, our grandparents, our aunts, uncles, our neighbors, our friends that maybe have passed on, but while they were with us, they had these grandiose ideas. They wanted to write that music or song. They wanted to write a book. They wanted to do the movie. They wanted to buy a house, a new car, but they never acted on those ideas. Let's not go to the grave with the music still in us. Let's act on those ideas. And the first place is to capture them and write them down. Okay? Now, the third area that we want you to track in your success journal are your results. Okay? Now, when I think of results, I think of value statements. Now, these are the things that I've done over the years that were challenging, that I put action to, and I got a result. So we use the acronym Problem, Action, Result, PAR. Okay, so we want you to write down the problem you were faced with, the action you took to overcome the problem, and the results of your action that you put into place. Okay, now one of my very first clients was Dr. Maurice Cavett, Doctor of Engineering, two master's degree, a bachelor's degree, all the latest in certification and process improvements. And I asked him, Dr. Cavett, what was one of your greatest challenges and one of your greatest accomplishments? And he said, well, I was approached to be part of a board of NASA engineers to help get food to the astronauts on the International Space Station. And so I said, that's fantastic. Well, what happened? He went to this elaborate rocket science explanation of how they got the food up there to the astronauts. And I said, how many people have you shared that story with within your job search process? And he said, well, nobody's ever asked me. And I said, Dr. Cavett, from now on, I want you to lead with that story. Lead with that, because the people in your community, I didn't understand what he was saying, to be honest with you, but the people in his community understood it like that. That gentleman is now one of the senior or junior officers at Walmart, one of the world's largest companies. Okay? Now, your value statements can also be used in helping you generate more compensation. Tim, who's a former client of mine and a former college athlete working in finance, generated an incredible job offer. As we discussed his negotiation strategy, we realized that the offer lacked clarity in his duties and responsibilities. As Tim went through and outlined what the job really called for, he went back to them with his value statements that demonstrating greater value to the company than what they were expecting initially. And so he shared his value statements with them regarding some of the things that they were asking him to do in his duties and responsibilities. And thus, with more responsibility, he was able to generate more compensation. This company didn't want to let him go, but they also understood that he brought more value than what they initially thought, which comes with more compensation, just like gold. Okay? So listen to this. According to a study conducted by Harvard Business School, participants who journaled at the end of the day had a 25% increase in performance when compared with a control group who did not journal. As the researchers concluded, results revealed reflection to be a powerful mechanism behind learning. American philosopher, psychologist, and educational reformer John Dewey stated, "We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience," and I would say, and sharing that experience with those who need our services. Does that make sense? Write in your success journal. Track your meetings, write down your ideas, track your results, be consistent, keep it simple, you guys. Okay? Hopefully I've made the case to you as to why keeping a success journal is so vitally important, no matter where you're at in your career journey. If you're just getting started, if you're happily employed, or if you're looking for advancement, this is such a powerful tool that you should have in your tool belt, not just when you get started, but for the length of your career. Okay? So let me conclude with where we started. If you believe this information to be true, you will do it. You guys, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you'd like to get in touch with me, just go through the Athlete Network. They'll be able to connect us if you need be, if you want to connect a little bit deeper. I have tons more of content for you. This is just one of them I thought was so vitally important as you're involved in your career search. Again, thanks for joining. Dominic Militello, your career advancement coach. Take care and hope to see you soon.